class once again. We have a review of what it is that is due to start our video. All of these assignments are classwork, so it shouldn't be too much additional work. So as I've mentioned in class, I would provide you with this list and some point values for your PO folder. Just an assessment of you keeping your resources together and being able to access what it is that we needed throughout the unit. So what I'd like in this folder, just as a means of review, is your PO KWL chart that is worth a point, your PO Museum artifact questions, which will be worth 3 points, the Raven Journal Jot, which you all did a great job on, so I can't wait to read them again, is worth 1 point. The Raven questions, which you filled out with myself and Miss Farina when I was not in, will be worth 4 points. There's a front and a back of a worksheet that we spent quite a bit of time on, 2.5 class periods, so we're really looking for that. That's going to be a high point value item. The Mask of Red Death with annotations. So remember, I want to see your thinking marks. So what do you think about what it is you're reading? What are your reactions? You should have this all done, but if you don't, please revisit the text and get those down so I can see them for the final. The Mask of Red Death signposts. So signposts, of course, something we've been working on since the very beginning of the year. I would just like to see your interaction with those. What do you think? And again, this should all be completed, so it shouldn't be any additional work. I'm just giving you an idea of what should be expected. And the PO chart, which was the green sheet that we used at several points during the unit, will be worth 2 points for a 15-point total, which will be about 1.5 times a traditional homework grade. Alright, if you have any questions on that, as always, please feel free to check in with me in the morning. I can help you if you need any additional support, but I look forward to collecting your folders tomorrow. Alright, so as you know, we are going to watch Pure PO. It's a fantastic play that looks at the same 3 works that we studied in this unit. So the Raven, the Telltale Heart, and the Mask of Red Death. So for those of you who haven't been to the theater before, there's certain things that you should be looking for when you're watching a play. I'm going to review those with you. Now they're going to come to us because this is a traveling production, meaning that they'll bring their props and their set and whatever it is they need to perform the play to our auditorium. They'll set up on our stage, use our sound system and lights, and what they do is they travel around to all different schools doing this. So it's a fantastic opportunity. We do have all of your permission slips, so thank you for turning those in. Alright, so a few things that I want you to know before we go to see this tomorrow. The first, as I said, is it's going to cover all 3 stories. So we're not quite sure how the playwright is going to accomplish this. We talked to them ahead of time, but they do modify it and change it so as to make the transition as seamless as possible, meaning that it's not going to be here's the Raven, here's the Mask of Death, and here's the Telltale Heart, but rather that they're going to be interwoven into each other to create a more interactive and a more enjoyable experience in the theater. So as I'm sure you remember, the Raven, of course, is a poem, and the other 2 are short stories. What will most likely happen is that our actor will play several different parts and be several of the characters in Poe's works, which will be interesting for us to see. So let's start with props. So I think you're all familiar with it because I've been bringing props in throughout the unit, but let me give you a definition. So if you take out a piece of loose leaf paper, maybe jot yourself some notes that you could either bring to the play or you can reference after watching the performance. So props are objects used on stage or on screen by actors during a performance, and they often add something to the performance. So the question that you want to ask yourself when watching the play and when you're thinking about the props is, what did that add to my experience? How did it help me to understand what the actor was saying or what was going on in the scene. So that's what we want to be thinking about when we talk about props and their impact on the viewing experience. So once again, if you need to take notes, please get out a piece of loose leaf paper. If you like, you could always put it in your notebook, but I don't think we have a lot of room on the page we devoted to Poe. So loose leaf probably would be best for this, then it's transportable as well. Alright, moving on, and you can always come back to this slide if you need these definitions again. We're going to talk about sounds, lighting, and costume. So often, and almost always, there's going to be some kind of sound incorporated into the play. Just as I do in the classroom for you, the sounds bring it to life, make it feel more realistic. So please pay attention to the sounds that they use tomorrow. How did the sounds make you feel? What sounds did you notice? What sounds did you not notice or did you miss because something else was going on? And what impact does that have on you? I want you to look at lighting. How was the stage lit? Was it dark? Was it brightly lit? Was there a spotlight on the actor? And how does that help us to understand what we're watching? And the last piece is costume. What does the costume of the actor look like? Does his costume change? Does he add to his costume? What does he do to make us believe that he's a character in these stories? And the best way to accomplish that is through voice and through costume, to help us better make that connection in our mind. So really be paying attention to that. I'd like you to document it and try to document the costume switches as well. So as I said, are there a lot of changes in the costume, or is it all done on stage? What do you notice? So this is a very reflective process. I want you to enjoy the play, but I want you to be thinking about it and putting it into perspective, into context, and really working on those pieces of it so that when you go to write the play review, you're more able to effectively write what you saw and your reactions to it. Mood. So I started briefly talking about mood. I want you to think about how it makes you feel. So the play is going to give you a general mood, just watching it. But then all the other aspects that we talked about so far will play into that. So the lighting, the costumes, the sounds. How does the mood change with all of those elements? And that's something interesting for you to write about too. So what was your general mood, and then how does your mood shift? Did it not shift? Did it stay the same for the whole play? I don't believe that to be the case. I think you'll have different feelings as we go through it. But I look forward to seeing what your reactions to that will be.